Welcome to 90 Day Digest, the series where I sit through each week's 90-day episode and break it down so that you don't have to. All of the drama, the romance, and none of the wasted time. On tonight's episode, we will be discussing Season 8, Episode 4, Before the 90 Days, titled, It's Going to Be a Bumpy Ride. If you haven't seen my recap for the previous episode, feel free to click the link in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Up first today, we have Lisa and Daniel. We begin with Lisa, who is packing for her upcoming trip to Nigeria. Now, usually people pack sunscreen or bug spray, but Lisa, she is packing an arsenal of wigs. She shows us the collection and then drops this casual bombshell. Apparently, these wigs give her rashes and open sores. But she says she is determined to wear them all day and all night. For Daniel, look, I appreciate the dedication to the aesthetic, but if your scalp is bleeding, maybe just rock a ponytail. Also, side note, if she makes it to the tell-all, I am willing to bet money that Rick, the guy who sells wigs on the side, is going to gift her a new unit. I'm calling it now. Editors, mark the tape. But the scalp sores are the least of her problems. Lisa is sitting down with her daughter Faith, trying to finalize her divorce. Why is she doing this now? Because apparently she has been legally married the entire time she's been talking to Daniel. Let's recap the lies, shall we? She told Daniel she had a fling with a woman. False. She was married to multiple women. She also told Daniel she was free to marry, which is also false. She has been separated for 9 years, but just didn't get around to the paperwork. She hits us with the classic line, "In my heart, I was free to marry." Unfortunately, Lisa, the State Department and the Nigerian visa authorities do not process paperwork based on what is in your heart. When the producer asks if she'll say yes if Daniel proposes, even though Faith told her not to, she says she probably will, because why start making good decisions now? Lisa heads to the airport, leaving Faith behind to clean up the legal mess. As she's walking to the terminal, she says she hopes Daniel will be her 6th and final spouse. 6th. I'm all for finding love at any age, but once you hit the Fast and the Furious numbers of spouses, maybe we need to look inward. Just a thought. We then get a jarring transition to Daniel in Nigeria. He's from the Igbo tribe, and he opens up about his extreme poverty, mentioning he sometimes only eats once a day. It's heartbreaking stuff. But then, the backstory takes a sharp left turn. He talks about his mother passing away, and her dying wish. Apparently, during a war, a white woman protected his mother, so his mom told him he must marry a white woman. That is a very specific ancestral mandate. No pressure, Daniel. He also lists the reasons he loves Lisa. She supports him financially, she makes him feel loved, and she has a good body structure? Good body structure? Sir, are you buying a car or marrying a human? Daniel goes to visit a spiritual leader to see if Lisa is the one. He confesses his worries. She vapes, which is a sin. She's been married twice to his knowledge, and she's been with women. This is where it gets scary. Daniel explains that in his culture, same-sex marriage can lead to banishment or even death. So, Lisa isn't just lying about her past, she is walking into a situation where her truth could be physically dangerous. The spiritual leader consults the ancestors and says go for it. Good tidings are coming. However, the editors immediately cut to Daniel talking about calls from God to go to America and how it will change his life. I don't know, guys. Between the body structure comment and the God is calling me to the US speech, my scam detector is going a little haywire. It feels less like The Notebook and more like a transaction for a green card. What could possibly go wrong? Our next couple of the episode is Emma and Ziad. Ziad tells us he had to get out of the hotel room early to clear his mind because the previous night was horrible. Meanwhile, Emma wakes up disappointed that there's no cuddling session. Emma, he literally just met you and you ran away from him at the airport. You aren't getting the good morning cuddle. You're lucky you're getting a good morning nod. They meet for breakfast and Emma decides it's time for the apology tour. She apologizes for being rude at the airport, but she comes armed with an excuse. She drops the bomb. She was fired from her job right before the trip. She starts crying, and Ziad does the classic awkward guy comfort hug. He tells her not to worry and to just focus on the vacation. Now, to Emma, this feels supportive. To me, this sounds like, please stop crying. I do not want to talk about your employment status. Let's just look at some architecture. They treat this moment like they've just healed their relationship. But let's be real, this is like putting a band-aid on a gaping wound. Next, Ziad takes Emma shopping at an old Turkish market. He buys her some bags, and she hits us with the line, "I've never had a guy offer to buy me gifts." Sure. But here is where things get manipulative. Emma asks for a kiss. Ziad, sticking to his cultural and religious boundaries, says, "Not here." So what does Emma do? She starts blowing air kisses at him. This feels calculated. She knows he can't do PDA. She knows it makes him uncomfortable, but she keeps pushing. It really feels like she's in cahoots with the production team, trying to poke the bear just to get a reaction for the cameras. It's not romantic, it's annoying. They stop for some street food. Ziad wants snails. Emma refuses. They debate whether snails or sushi are weirder. It's thrilling stuff. But then, we get the horse carriage ride. The setting is perfect for drama. Emma decides she wants to come clean about her past, specifically about her ex, Muhammad. But her approach is terrible. She doesn't say, "Hey, I need to tell you something." She says, "There are things about me you don't know." And that could mean anything. That could mean I have a third nipple, or I am a fugitive. Ziad, probably wanting to avoid another crying session, immediately shuts it down. He says, if it's in the past, let's leave it there. Emma feels shut down, so she doesn't tell him. But then, and this is my favorite part, she flips it on him. She tells the cameras that because Ziad doesn't want to talk about the past, he must be the one hiding dirty little secrets. This is classic projection, folks. She has a secret she's dying to tell, but also terrified to tell. And because he won't let her spill the tea, she decides he's the villain. I have a feeling the Muhammad secret is going to come out at the worst possible time, and the longer she waits, the bigger the blowback. Tell me what you think in the comments. Is Emma pushing the PDA boundaries on purpose for TV time, or does she just not get it? Moving on to Laura and Birkan. I have just one question for Laura. When a man tells you he is couch surfing between towns, do we call that adventurous, or do we call that homeless? Laura arrives in Turkey and has rented a massive Airbnb. Birkan is thrilled because he's never seen a place this big. Why? Because as we learn, he's currently living this nomadic life, and by nomadic, I mean he doesn't have an apartment. Laura seems totally unbothered that she is essentially funding a roof over his head. Laura gets to the train station early, and the anxiety kicks in. She is terrified he won't be attracted to her loose skin from her weight loss. But when they meet, it's surprisingly sweet. They hug, they kiss, and Birkan drops a line that is either incredibly romantic or slightly concerning. He says, "She's perfect. I don't need to look at her. I feel it. I'm complete." Smooth one, Birkan. Very smooth. He's saying all the right things to keep that Airbnb access secure. However, the second they get on the train, the energy shifts. Laura admits it feels unfamiliar. She's missing the online vibe. This is the classic 90-day curse. The internet connection was 5G, but the in-person connection is dial-up. They get to the rental, and again, it's huge. It's plenty of space for two people who are suddenly realizing they are complete strangers. They do a little sightseeing, and Birkan is turning up the charm. He is dropping spectacular phrases, hitting her with that Turkish riz, and Laura is eating it up. Back at the Airbnb, 9 p.m. hits. Laura is exhausted. She asks Birkan if he wants to join her for some rest. We all know what rest means in 90-day speak. She wants to test the physical chemistry. Birkan's response? Nah, I'm gonna watch some TV. Sir, you haven't seen this woman in forever. She rented a mansion for you, and you are choosing Turkish cable over her? That is cold. While Birkan is bonding with the remote control, Laura checks her phone, and Michael has been blowing her up. Laura replies, and somehow, through text alone, Michael hits her with, "You don't sound that excited," and Laura is shook. She didn't think he'd pick up on it, but let's be honest, if you're texting your best friend while your new fiancé is in the other room watching cartoons, the vibe is off. Laura is spiraling. She feels weird that he's in the living room. She starts thinking, maybe he's not attracted to me, maybe he's hiding something. She ends the night questioning why she even came to Turkey in the first place. Now, to be fair to Birkan, seasoned 90-day viewers know that men from conservative or Muslim backgrounds often take it slow on the first night out of respect, or because of the cameras. But Laura is American. She wants validation, and she wants it now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Birkan just being respectful, or is he not that into her? Our next couple of the episode is a new couple that we are being introduced to for the first time, Jovon and Annalyn. Meet Jovon. He works at a nursing home. He introduces us to his situation. He has been with his wife for 5 years, or maybe 6. She says 6, he says 5. They've been married for 2 years, or maybe 3. She says 3, he says 2. But here's the kicker. They have never met. During COVID, they decided to get legally married over Zoom just to bypass border restrictions. Now look, desperate times call for desperate measures, but it has been years since the restrictions lifted. Even the residents at the nursing home are roasting him. One sweet old lady asks, "How can you be married that long and never even visit?" Jovon's excuse? It's too expensive. Sir, you have been married for 3 years. If you saved $1 a day, you'd be in Manila by now. This feels like a massive cop-out. Jovon is preparing to finally go visit, but not before we uncover the real drama. He goes shopping with his sister, Ashley. Ashley admits the Zoom marriage is wild, but drops some real tea. Annalyn is jealous of a certain female friend that Jovon has. Now, why would Annalyn be jealous, you ask? Well, Jovon admits that he and his friend had a small thing in the past. But wait, it gets worse. When Jovon and Annalyn were going through a rough patch, instead of talking to his wife, Jovon ran to his ex fling for emotional support. If you are running to your ex when your marriage gets hard, that is not a friendship, that is a backup plan. Jovon claims he did it because Annalyn blocks him whenever they fight. Okay, toxic communication on both sides? Check. Jovon calls Annalyn to clear the air before his trip. It's a disaster. Annalyn drops a knowledge bomb. Apparently, Jovon was the one who made the rule that they couldn't talk to exes, so he made the rule, and then he broke the rule. Annalyn calls his relationship with the friend a baby step toward temptation, and she is 100% right. Jovon hits back with the King of Excuses special. He says, "I was desperate to be heard." Annalyn says, "Then talk to your family, or go to therapy." Jovon says, "I can't afford that." He can't afford the flight, he can't afford therapy. Jovon, my brother in Christ, what can you afford? Because right now, you can't afford this relationship. Then, Jovon has the audacity to ask Annalyn, "When have you shown up for me emotionally?" Annalyn looks devastated. She reminds him that she has spent the last 6 years waiting for a man she has never touched. She gave up her prime dating years for a Zoom screen. If that isn't commitment, I don't know what is. To end the call, they come to a truce. Jovon agrees to stop talking to the friend. Anna Lynn accepts this, but tells the camera crew she doesn't actually believe him. She's just agreeing so that they can get through this visit without a fight. This is a recipe for disaster. We have a husband who runs to his ex for comfort and pleads poverty for every solution, and a wife who has been waiting half a decade for a meetup that might implode in 5 minutes. Is Anna Lynn right to be jealous, or is Jovon just looking for a friend? Let me know in the comments. And finally, we have arrived at the main event, the Fantastic Four: Forrest, Sheena, Dev, and the undisputed MVP of cringe, Molly. If you thought the previous couples were messy, this segment is a masterclass in secondhand embarrassment. The group hops in a taxi to an Airbnb that Sheena has rented. Why aren't they staying with Sheena's family? Because her parents wanted to charge them rent. Let me get this straight. Forrest has sent thousands of dollars in savings that mysteriously disappeared into the family's pockets, and now they want to charge him a nightly rate to sleep on the floor? Forrest refuses on principle, and for once, I agree with him. However, the Airbnb is tiny, and the walls are thin, which means if Forrest and Sheena decide to consummate their relationship, Molly and Dev are going to have front row audio seats. Before bed, Forrest decides to give Sheena some lingerie. It's awkward. He brushes his teeth while talking about his virginity. It's awkward. They go to bed, and nothing happens. Well, not nothing. Forrest tells us the next morning that while they didn't go all the way, he discovered a new side of Sheena called Night Sheena. Apparently, Night Sheena likes to grab and take what she wants. Forrest says she takes what she wants in the bedroom. I'm worried she also takes what she wants from the bank account, but they agree to wait until the time is right, specifically when Molly isn't 10 feet away. The next day, they all pile into a car to head to Chinatown, and Molly chooses violence. She turns around and point blank asks if they did the Nookie Nookie. When she said that, I physically recoiled. Forrest says no. Molly asks why. Then Dev chimes in, saying it takes practice to be good at it. Guys, stop. This is his first time. Let the man live a little. But here's the detail that makes this scene art. The entire time Molly is grilling them about their love life, she has a little bit of white foam on the corner of her mouth. Is it toothpaste? Is it rabies? Is it sheer excitement? I don't know, but I couldn't look away. Molly then suggests oral and fondling as alternatives. Finally, Forrest snaps. He tells her she's being disrespectful and pushing too far. Molly is shocked because she thinks she's just being helpful, and she's probably being egged on by producers in my opinion, but frankly, I'm glad Forrest finally found a backbone. They arrive in Chinatown for dinner. Molly decides it's time to switch from love therapist to forensic accountant. She starts with the compliment sandwich. She thanks Sheena for apologizing earlier. It's a classic soften the blow tactic. Then, bam! Look me in the eye. Why did you lie about the money? Sheena's excuse? In her culture, she has to support her family. Okay, fair. But Molly's point is, why did you lie about it? Why say it was in a savings account when it was actually in your dad's wallet? Sheena starts mumble crying. It's impossible to understand her. Even Forrest is like, babe, speak up. Sheena claims her family guilt trips her, and honestly, considering her developmental disability, there is a very real chance she is being financially exploited by her own parents. But Molly isn't letting up. She hates liars. And what does Forrest do? He defends Sheena. He compares her situation to his own with Molly. He talks about rescuing Sheena and confronting the parents in order to right the wrongs. Molly realizes right then and there, Forrest is lost. He is, as the notes say, lost in the Sheena sauce. Molly realizes she can't win this battle because Forrest sees himself as the knight in shining armor, and Sheena is the damsel in distress who just happens to be terrible with money. There will be no accountability for the stolen savings, just Night Sheena and empty bank accounts. And that wraps up this week's episode of 90 Day Digest. Which couple do you think has the best chance of making it in the long run? Or which will crash and burn before the end of season tell-all? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can be notified of next week's release. Thanks for watching!